Good morning, everybody. Hello and welcome along to your pre-match build-up here on the Rangers Rabble podcast. As yes, it is Old Firm Day. I'm joined for this by Stuart. Stuart, how are you?
Good, Martin. Yes. We were just chatting beforehand, weren't we, about this game, and it's the battle fever's starting to kick in a wee bit now. As we 45 minutes away.
Do you know, has this been one of the quietest Old Firm build-ups you can remember?
As we were having a chat beforehand in terms of, I think the kind of general consensus is that there isn't a meaningless Old Firm game, but I think if you take a step back, this is pretty damn close to it, for many reasons. So I don't know, maybe just because of the way Thursday night went and stuff like that, and the kind of the euphoria of that. Maybe it's just taking a wee bit of time for that to die down, and then for focus to turn on this. I'm sure that's not what Barry and his staff have been doing right enough, but maybe just for the fans, it's been a wee bit of a quieter build up.
I think so. And look, you said it to me just before we started. The fact that our supporters had to be in that ground for 2 hours before kickoff's shocking.
And maybe it's the world that we now live in, where there isn't an honesty about why that is. That is a Celtic issue. It's their stadium, but I think it's a disgrace that fans are treated like that. And how long will they be kept in after? To watch a 90-minute game of football. So I don't think it's good enough. But nothing's going to change because nobody's going to hold them to account on it.
No.
And I don't imagine that will be the scenario come the last game at Ibrox. I don't think that I could be wrong, but I don't ever remember that being the scenario where their fans have had to be in at Ibrox 2 hours before. And for the fact that they do admit it, to ensure your safety. Well, I'm sorry, that is not good enough. What is it then that you can't guarantee? What are the issues? Maybe you should be looking like that rather than penalising fans who are paying a lot of money today to go and watch that game and being treated, I think, pretty poorly.
Yeah. And by the way, Stuart, you're absolutely right. 2 hours before and singing their hearts out, haven't stopped for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So absolutely fair play to your fans. I can't sing for 5 minutes, and my throat's gone, and my back's sore, and all that good stuff. But listen, let's take a look at the team anyway. Let's get into this, Stuart. Let's delve into it. So, today's starting 11 for Rangers, and we'll get into the Celtic team in a wee second. Butland, Tav, Suter, Balogun, Ridvan, Sterling, Barron, Raskin, Diamande, Cherny, and Dessers. Now, Stuart, I was asking beforehand, is this a 3-5-2 again? Is it a 4-4-2? What is it, Stuart?
So I think it will start as a 3, but I think one of the things that I think has been fairly clear from how Barry wants to manage this team is that he's got the ability to be a wee bit flexible within games. So I'd imagine we start with a 3 just as we did on Thursday night, but Thursday night he changed it to a 4 midway through the game. So there are options within that. But yeah, I think it will be 3. So I think you're looking at your Tav, Suter, Balogun 3, it'll be Sterling right wing back and Ridvan on the left. And then that kind of 3 in the middle of the park, which you're asking for a big shift from them, and then it'll be Dessers and Cherny. Cherny hopefully getting close again to Dessers. I think we need a big game again from Cherny. I think whether he'll be able to last the full 90 because he seemed kind of out in his feet a wee bit. Unsurprisingly the other night, but I think what you need is to give him, if he can have a big game for say 65-70 minutes, I think that's really important to us. But I think there's a flexibility within that lineup, Martin, that depending on how the game's going, then the manager can make changes, which is a good thing, because I think under Clement we were far too rigid and just stuck to that very 4-3-3. There was no movement from it. But I think he said in his pre-match that Jeff D's out for personal reasons. So obviously wish him well, whatever's going on there. I do think it's maybe the right call, even if he had been. I think maybe bringing Jeffy out the firing line potentially was on the cards. I don't know what you think about that, and maybe just letting Ridvan have his opportunity left back, because he has been culpable a wee bit, Jeffy, and I think also that it's a physicality, but also a mentality thing there. I think, your tiredness can come into both sides of that. Jeffy's played a lot of football, more than he's probably ever played. So I think
I think personally, I think what you're looking at from today is, and what I said is, if we set up defensively against Celtic, we have seen what they do to us when we do that. If we go to Parkhead and we sit back and soak up the pressure, what normally happens, Stuart, within half an hour or 2-0 up? That's usually what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at that starting lineup, and obviously if it's personal issues for Jeffy, I hope whatever it is sorted and he's back playing as soon as possible. In the last 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, Stuart, he's been suspect defensively, Jeffy. So you're asking yourself, well, A, Ridvan on his natural side, which is good. Is he a better defender than Jeffy? Because he's up against, what is it, Kuhn he's up against today? Who would you rather have up against Kuhn, Jeffy or Ridvan from a defensive perspective? And is Ridvan a better, I can't even think of the right English, more better defensively than Jeffy, but doesn't take away from going forward, if that makes sense?
I think Ridvan is better defensively than Jeffy at the moment. I think where Jeffy has the advantage over him is probably his ability to get forward constantly. I think he's got a great engine on him, where Jeffy does suffer, and I think probably both of them are a bit itchy peachy in this. I think sometimes their delivery, their final ball, lets them down when they get into decent positions. So
does Ridvan bring, and I'll bring up this super chat for Stephen Robertson over in Australia. I'm not doing the accent, it's Old Firm Day. I'm not doing the accent. He just says Ridvan with a blue love heart. Thank you so much, Stephen, for the support. So you feel that Ridvan brings enough defensive stability, but still keep, because when we do have the ball, Celtic will have the majority of the ball today, Stuart. So when we do get it, we need to make the most of it. And is Ridvan good enough going? Is he on par or good enough as what Jeffy is going forward to keep the attacks going and create? Because like you say, when Jeffy gets that ball, he can take you 40, 50, 60 yards up the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, look, Ridvan will need to do that. We need today to take advantage of this formation. So if it is the three at the back, I think you want Tav to be able to use his ability in the ball to bring the ball out. You want Sterling and you want Ridvan to be wide and pushed up, because what you really want to be doing, that front three of Celtic, there's a lot of ability in there, there's a lot of pace in there as well. You want them to be going back towards their goal. We've got to give them something to think about, and that's maybe where they have a weakness in terms of your Kuhns, etc. Are they going to be switched on to be able to kind of be looking over their shoulder if we can get out? So we will need that. I know you talked about whether or not is this a defensive lineup. I personally don't think going three at the back means that you have to play defensively. I think we've seen in Turkey that formation can show that you still have a real attacking threat. Celtic will naturally push on. I think there's opportunities here for Rangers to exploit them on the transition. And you look at the first goal over in Turkey. You've got Diomande pressing. You've got Czerny pressing high up the pitch. Raskin had a great chance in that game. He was bursting into the Fenerbahce box. So I don't necessarily think that because it looks like a 3-5-2 that I think people naturally think, okay, that could be a defensive formation. I think there's attacking options in there. I agree with you, though, what we can't be doing is just be camped on our 18-yard line. For 90 minutes, that's where it becomes wrong. You've got to offer that threat, and I think that's where we need Czerny and Dessers. Can Dessers put in a similar performance to Fenerbahce, hold the ball up, bring people into play, and can you exploit space for Czerny to get into? Because he can then cause real problems.
He can, and Ian, I'll bring you straight. And I know you've been watching, so you know how the conversations went. So I'll just carry it on, Ian. Lyndon's saying very defensive and no pace. Are we relying too much today, as we have done for quite a lot of the season, on Czerny?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at it from the European game point of view from Thursday, like you said, everything that's positive about Thursday night was Czerny. But outside of that, where's the real pace in that team? Because Bayrami, you can bring Bayrami in, but it doesn't look like he's interested at the minute. It might just be the way he plays football. I don't know. You can bring Hadji in, but that reduces the pace even further. People say it lacks pace, but Des is just quicker than we think he is. You can put a bit of pace in there, but
yeah, but he's starting up front, Ian.
He's starting up front, but
he's coming through the middle of the park and coming through out wide. The only person there with pace that I can see is Czerny.
Ridvan's not slow. Yep, you are. There is a definite lack of pace in our team, but it's not a one-game issue. It's been an issue all season. We got no pace anywhere, and we haven't, and that's something that will need to change when we get to the end of the season. So this time, then, we just have to play with our heads instead of just kicking balls long and trying to run onto it. Try and play through it. Pick out the passes, because we can do that as well. Because if you've seen the one-touch passing that we can do, we can knock the ball past the team before they've even thought. So maybe we try and do that today instead of trying to outrun them for 90 minutes.
My big worry, though, Stuart, would be Thursday night, 120 minutes, penalty kicks. If we are so reliant on Václav Czerny, does he have the engine for 90 minutes a day?
But I think that's what I touched on. I'm not expecting Czerny to probably get through the full 90 minutes here, but can he give you that type of performance that we've seen in the first half? By the way, I thought he was the best player in the park on Thursday night for the first half. How effective he was away in Turkey. Can he give you that level for 65, 70 minutes? And we are going to then need to rely on our bench. And we're going to then need to see your Hadjis try to come on and make an impact, your Egeman, come on and make an impact. The bench is, when you look at it on paper, it's fairly solid, but you're going to need these guys to step up. You're probably going to need to call on Danilo at some point. But what you're looking for, can we then still be in the game when that happens? First goal, I think, is massive. Again, the last two, cup final and at Ibrox, we've managed to get that first goal. It makes such a difference. We go in here and we lose an early goal. We've talked about the mentality of this team over this season, what happens there. So I think first goal's important. And by the way, they're missing big players as well.
I'm going to come on to that in a wee second, but what I want to do before we come on to that, Stuart, is I want to hear from the manager. So let's hear, if I can just get everything set up correctly and make this look as seamless as possible. Let's hear from Barry Ferguson, who spoke to Rangers TV.
Barry, it's Old Firm Day here at Parkhead, the Scottish Premiership match. How much are you and the squad looking forward to this one?
Well, these are the games you've got to look forward to. We've not won here in a long time, so that's something that I put to the players, and we need to change. So we're going to go with an aggressive manner, and obviously try and come away with the 3 points.
It was such a huge effort from the squad on Thursday night too. How's the recovery been in the past few days with the group?
Recovery's been fine. I've spoke to the players, and I just need players that are 100% ready. I spoke to them all. They're all fine, ready to go. So then I had to go and obviously select my team, and then pick the formation that I was going to go with. So that's all done. Tiredness, listen, they're well looked after. They're very good professionals, and now we're just ready to go and hopefully, as I said, come away with a victory.
Can I just ask you, on team news, Jeffrey's obviously out of the squad, Ridvan comes in, and what's that one about there? Is there an issue there with Jeffrey?
Personal issues. So listen, it's private and confidential. So listen, he won't be with us obviously today, but hopefully in the coming weeks he'll obviously be back training with the squad.
In terms of the game, you know exactly what it's like as a player. What's important to get a result here? What do the players need to show?
Well, first and foremost, you need to be really at it. You need to demand from one another, and you need to come here with the confidence that you can take the game to Celtic, and that's the way that we're going to approach it. And it's great to see obviously the fans back as well. So that'll give the players a huge boost coming out and seeing the 2,500. So it'll be a huge boost to see them get behind the team.
Yeah, I was going to say that to you. What impact can that have? Like you say, the boys have just come out there, they've saw the backing that they've got here today already, and sort of the emotions are in that for the supporters too.
It's so important, the fans, and it's brilliant. It's been went on too long in terms of the fans not being allowed back in. So look, they've got 2,500 that are going to roar them all game. They'll get right behind them, and it's up to us as a squad and a team to make sure they put a performance on that they're proud of.
And for you on the touchline, you must be relishing this too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I get a nice reception when I come in, and listen, it'll be hostile, but look, I'm used to that. These are the places that you want to come and first and foremost as a player play in. But now it's different for me. I'll be standing on the touchline. It'll be a bit different. It'll be interesting, but I'm looking forward to it.
And you could just hear the Rangers fans in the background there already. But he said a few things there that I want to pick up on. I should have made this build up longer. That was my fault. I should have started it a bit earlier, but I didn't. But before we get into what Barry said, Stuart, I'm going to come straight back to you. You said they have some players missing. How big a miss for them is Callum McGregor?
Yeah, potentially huge. I'm pretty sure they have made every effort to get him on that park today. If they were playing a Dundee at home or whatever like that, then I think probably midweek they would have just said, you know what, sit this one out, Callum. But they've made every effort to get him back because he is a bit of a talisman to them, and he has dictated games against us, particularly at Parkhead. So they will have a slight change to that. I think it's also just his, he's constantly in the ref's ear, isn't he? He's always there and stuff like that. So they maybe lose an angle there. I think the last two games we've played them pretty well in terms of that. So, whether or not, given the formation, it doesn't look, I'd be surprised if we're going to deploy anybody specifically. I think it will probably be Engels that drops into that kind of deeper role that McGregor normally plays.
McGowan, maybe
McGowan, but it's whether I don't see is probably going. Not that we've went man to man, but what we've tried to do is cut off the passing lanes into them because that's what they like to play through. So look, it'll be a big loss. I mean, they've got a guy at centre half. I'll hold my hands up. I generally didn't even know who he was today. So, that might come as a surprise to Celtic fans.
We've said that before, though, Stuart, and we've not troubled them at all.
Absolutely. But, at the end of the day, we've seen this season how defensive injuries can impact on teams' performances and stuff like that, and bringing somebody in from the cold into a big game. So, I think we'd rather these scenarios, but we've got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and that is one thing we really do have to take advantage of, Ian, as the centre of the park. We have in the last couple of games, and it's bode well, kind of, for us if you take away the penalty loss in the cup final. But McGowan in there, not really that experienced in terms of these games. In fact, is this his first or second, maybe, Old Firm game? I'm not sure. But we need to take advantage of that, don't we? You're on mute. Shocking behaviour.
Yellow card. I've not done that in ages because I don't normally go on mute. We do need to take advantage of the situations that are presented with us. We can, and even with McGregor in there, that last game at Ibrox, and I know that's different because it's at our place, not theirs, but we didn't give them a chance to settle. And that's what you need to do because they don't like it if you don't let them settle because they can't play the way they want to play. So just go in about it. And Lewis said it in our group chat. We actually don't have anything to lose here because our season's pretty much done in regards to domestic. So just go out there and play like you don't care and just smash into him. Hit him every single chance he got. And without him in the middle to lead them, because he is, whether you like him or loathe him, he is a leader in that Celtic team. And he gathers them, he gets them together, mid-game huddles and all that sort of stuff, and tries to get them going again. So without in there, who's going to take that role? Because McGowan's not going to do that. Carter Vickers is now your man to do it. I don't think he's the presence that McGregor is for them. And when Naroki at the back, or however you say it, fifth choice, we should target him. That's where Dasher should stand on him and pull Carter Vickers out of position. That's what I would be doing if it was me. But
we
then
say that we say fifth choice. $4.5 million is a no bad fifth choice.
It's not a bad fifth choice, but he's behind Scales. So we just got to target what we can. He's in and out and coming in from the cold. Sometimes it can work, sometimes it can't. We just got to hope he has an off day and we have an on day. We punish him for it.
Yeah, 100%. Stephen Robertson back in again with 2 super chats. The first one, listen to that sound, Glasgow Rangers. I love it, and it will be interesting to see what it's like with the fans back in. All right, it's cut in half or whatever. What was it, 7 or 8,000 Rangers fans used to get in?
7.5, right?
7.5. Now it's down to 2.5, and that is one of the worst away sections in Scottish football, by the way. Stuck in there, it's horrible. And Barry Ferguson, manager / player. I'd love to have Barry Ferguson on the park today. That would be outstanding. Just as your super chat, Stephen Robertson. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you for the support. Stuart, we haven't won. Barry said it there. We haven't won there in a long, long time. We haven't really looked like winning there in a long, long time. But I liked his pre-match there, but he says we're going to be aggressive, which tells me we're not sitting back.
You could sense it almost from the first minute at Ibrox when we beat them in New Year. We were on top. We were snapping into tackles, etc. If we stand off, then invariably, that could cause us problems. So, Ferguson has handled himself immaculately for me in terms of how these interviews and these press conferences, he is saying the right things. It's whether or not he can then get that across to these players. I'm sure it'll have been drummed into them what this means or should mean to them, and it certainly means to us. But yeah, we've lay a marker down here, and we've got players that can do that. You're asking Barron and Diamandi. There is energy in that, so they should be able to get about the park. And I think another big thing, and I know a few have had call-ups for internationals, but there is a break after this, so you really want players to be emptying the tank here because there is a chance to recover.
It's an old saying, Stuart, but very true. Just go out and empty the tank.
Well, exactly. That's all we're asking for. Because there's no point trying to save something, holding something back, and then you find yourself 2-0 down or something like that. So, we've got to go out here, got to be aggressive. We've got to play as well, Martin. I think this is absolutely important. We can't treat that ball like a freaking hot potato.
No.
When we get the chance to be on the ball, keep it. Let's make them do some of the running around. Let's cause them some problems. We do have players that can do that in this team, but we need to get ourselves up the park, etc., and use the ball wisely when we've got it. And we've not done that at times, and we need to be switched on. Quick throw-ins, quick free kicks. We need stand in front of the ball. Follow your runners. Don't let people. So I liked what he's talking about. They've got to be talking to each other. They've got to be encouraging each other on, because that's absolutely vital. And we've seen, particularly at Parkhead, where that hasn't been the case.
Mm-hmm. No, it really hasn't. I'm getting deja vu. I don't know if I've had this conversation with you before, Stuart. I'm getting mega deja vu about this. Maybe it's because I've done about 17,000 of these pre-match build-ups in the past. But no, I agree with all that, Ian. We need to be aggressive and we need to go for it. We also need to be sensible about it, though.
Of course, you need to be sensible. You've got to do your jobs. It's all right going, we'll empty the tank and we'll just go at them from the first whistle. But you've still got to do your job. You've still got to make sure you're sound defensively as best you can. They're going to get chances. They always will. It's at their place. They're always going to get it. You've just got to defend in those moments and take your chances when they come. But you can still go and empty the tank doing all of that as well. And like Barry says, they're very well looked after and professional players. They should know how to do that. They're away from home, which they seem to like at the moment for some strange reason. They've flipped that about as the season's gone on. But just go out there. Rangers fans will be happy if we won't be happy that we lose. But if you go out there and show us that you're willing to give it a go and lose and giving it your everything, we can accept it a little bit more than just going out there, going through the motions, losing 3 or 4-0, and then running off and hiding. So go out, empty the tank, give us everything you can give us, do what you need to do your jobs right, and you'll get thanked for it regardless.
I think there's also here a bit of game management. See, on Thursday night at the game, I was screaming at times for just a player to go down. Just go down, pretend you need to physio, take the sting out of the game.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes I don't think we're smart enough to do those things, you know. But I ref, I need the physio on, you know, just if it breaks the game up for a minute, stops the flow, stops it, because you know we've seen it with them. They do build, and you can almost sense that something's coming here. So, you know, a bit of game management as well. Somebody's put in the chat, we'll need to use the subs wisely, 100%. You know, that's going to be a key factor here. But game management, be sensible, you know, take what you can at the right moments. So if we need to take a wee bit longer in a throw in or a free kick, or if somebody needs to go down and pretend that they've got they need some magic spray, do it.
And you know how, like, if you're building up to an Old Firm, people have got different ways in which they build up, haven't they? Some people don't watch anything and they just switch the TV on right as the kickoff goes. Some people are watching stuff for 2 a.m. Well, Stephen Robertson, he's watching Still Game. Another super chat in there. Thought about Method on Mick and Still Game. So fair play to you, Stephen. If that's how you build up to a game, absolutely fair play. Look, I want to finish on this because it's something, Ian, I'll come to you first, that me and Stuart kind of spoke about at the start here, right? Andy McDonald means nothing if we win here today, right? Now, Ian, in terms of the league position, in terms of the ability to go and win anything, the game means nothing. But there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Rangers supporters who will turn around and go, regardless of which state we're in, this game means everything.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Domestically, yeah, all right, it means nothing. We win today, that just brings back to 13, which is in itself is an embarrassment. But you can't sit there and tell me that you're going to sit there and watch that game today, regardless of what the score is. You're just going to go, oh, well done, we've won a game today, and then turn the telly off. You're not. You're going to jump, you're going to scream, you're going to shout, you're going to kick the cat if you've got one. We don't condone violence against cats on this channel, but you're going to kick the cat if you've got one. I mean, my family know that even though we haven't won the league, they've all gone out today because they know what I get like when Old Firm games are on. So they've all disappeared. That's why I've ended up being on here, because I can do it. Because I was expecting them not to leave till like 25 past 12, but they've already seen me getting a little bit anxious and irritable, so they've done one already. So that these games mean everything to everyone, and don't kid yourself that it's not. They don't feel the same the other way around. They can sit there and laugh and joke and say, "Oh, it's a nothing game. We've won the league already. We're just going to take it like it's a pre-season friendly, etc., etc." They lose this game today, they'll be at Rodgers because he's lost the game, because they haven't dominated us this season. We've lost the league because we can't do it against other teams. But when you look at the three, this will be the fourth one now. But if you look at the three previous, we talked about it last night. 3-0 at Celtic Park, we got beaten, well-deserved beaten. 3-0 in a cup final, but for a dodgy decision and penalty shootout, which is a lottery, could go either way, a draw. Then we played them at Ibrox. It was 3-0 to us. So there's nothing between these teams, really, if you look at the past fixtures. So we've caused our own problems this season. This game means everything to everyone. And if we lose, I'll be in a right miserable git until I go to work on Monday morning, when I'll have to pretend I'm not. And that if we win, I'll be elated and I could eat a bag full of lemons. You wouldn't get a smile off my face.
Sure.
Yeah, so we were having that chat beforehand, wasn't it? Because for them, it's a, you know, they can't lose. You know, if they get beat, you know, they'll say, well, the league's done. If they win, then they're 19 points clear, and my God, they will lord that over us. If we win, you know, then yeah, it's, to us, yes, there's that satisfaction of beating them, but there's the bigger picture here. But there is a bigger picture in terms of if we can put in another very decent performance against them, and if you can get a result, then as Ian's touched on, that would be the last 3 games where actually who's played better and over those games, it would be us. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if they were to take a step back, and I know I'm howling at the moon here, but a kind of fair-minded and sensible Celtic fan could start to say, well, hold on a second, what is it that they're now doing? What have they sussed out about this Celtic team and how Rodgers is setting things up that actually now they seem to be building a wee bit of momentum? And then if you go into the Ibrox game and you could get another, then, you know, all of a sudden the chat was, no, Clermont hasn't won in X amount of times. You just say, well, Rodgers hasn't suddenly won. So there are small wins that you can get here. It'll be interesting to see. Like I say, I think you've got the right man in the dugout for this sort of game today. Given the situation we find ourselves in the league, I'm sure he is absolutely drilling it into them that, you know, this isn't a meaningless game. It's important. It's what it means to us. He's in touch on going into work tomorrow morning will make a massive difference if you go in, you know, having that result. Long run, it's not going to make a massive difference, but it could just plant some seeds.
It absolutely could. It absolutely could. And if you are a member, then in about 3 minutes' time, you can switch over, if you're a member on YouTube or Patreon, and join the guys for the full watch along of the Old Firm game. I'm not going to do predictions, not on this. We're going to leave it as it is there, and we're just going to go and see how the game goes, and then we'll be back on here for the reaction. Win, lose, or draw. All I will ask is just a yes or a no, right? I know that's difficult for you, Stuart, right? But it's just a yes or a no. And Ian, I will come to you first. Are you confident that we can win the day?
Yes.
That was such a... I don't want to say no, yes. Stuart?
That was it.
Yes.
Yes, confident. Love it. Right, folks, thank you very much for joining us. Go and watch the game. Like I say, if you remember, go and join the guys over on the watch along. They'll take you through the full game, and then we'll be back here for reaction after the game. So, Ian, Stuart, thank you very much. Thank you, Stephen Robertson, for all the super chats. Thank you, my friend, for the support. You can support now by just simply liking, sharing, and subscribing. And if you want to support more, you can join as a member as well. So, thank you for tuning in, folks, and I sincerely hope your team wins.